Hello, greetings. Welcome to the Historical Boxing Society podcast. Today we are doing a reading on Mick Dooley versus Joe Goddard, number 2. This is the rematch. This only took place a few months after the original bout. And as much as Mick Dooley had a case to be made for actually being victorious on the first match, as I wrote in the comments there, Sid Bloomfield wanted to disqualify Goddard for the tactics he was using in the bout. Even taking Dooley down with hip checks. His brother, as I stated in the comments, grabbed him by the shirt tail and dragged him down to allow the fight to go on. He didn't want a win from disqualification. So, take it for what you will. Goddard won the first bout, but he was certainly on the realm of being disqualified. Well, as Dooley went on to for the rematch, there was some things he wanted to change in the rematch, and from what I gathered, the first thing would be trying to make sure it wasn't a finish fight. He didn't want to do these unlimited rounds, and for the next thing he wanted to do was get a referee in the ring, because Bloomfield was actually outside of the ring when he wanted to disqualify him. And obviously, having a brute such as Joe Goddard with no referee in the ring makes it a little more difficult to try and control the action. So we're going to do a reading of the second fight here, a round-by-round recap, and I'm going to do a quick little reading here of some words from Mick Dooley about Joe Goddard. Okay, so this is Mick Dooley when he's doing some training for one Kid McCoy, and I'm just going to read you the paragraph of this. Did he not have a row with old Joe Goddard in Africa? Yes, replied Mick Dooley. He challenged Joe Goddard in a bar, and Joe offered to go out and fight him in the field for all the money in Africa. But McCoy cooled off. How would he have got on with the barrier warrior with knuckles, Mick Dooley? Joe Goddard would have eaten him alive. For that matter, I think Goddard would beat any man in the world under prize ring rules. He is the devil incarnated. He has a heart of a lion, the hide of an ox, and the constitution of a healthy alligator. So those are the very own words of Mick Dooley about Joe Goddard. Now we are going to do a reading here. So this is November 6th, 1890. Round 1. Goddard was the first to make a move, letting go his left, which Dooley stopped. Goddard then rushed in with both hands, going for the face and body, and Dooley came down. After taking his 10 seconds, Goddard rushed Dooley over the stage and got in some heavy blows on the body and the head. A clinch and a quick uppercut by Goddard, supplemented by a bang on the ear, and Dooley swung around his left, but Goddard avoided. A clinch followed, and then Goddard caught Dooley with an ugly one on the ribs, following it up with a right hand on the jaw. Dooley tried his left again but was short, and Goddard continued rushing Dooley, whom he had against the ropes, when time was called. Round 2. Careful sparring marked the opening of this round until Goddard saw his opportunity and dashed in with both hands going. But Dooley stopped them and was forced onto the ropes. Dooley got home a stinging left on Goddard's ear, and a clinch followed, in which Goddard uppercut Dooley, but not heavily. Another right on the ear from Goddard, and some little time was occupied in sparring for an opening until Goddard rushed in with his left, but Dooley was quickly out of the way. In reply, shot his left long, reaching Goddard's eye. Another one by the same hand on the ribs, and Goddard made another vicious rush and caught Dooley a nasty blow on the throat with his left, which brought the latter to the boards. Corners were called before time had expired. So, Dooley down in round 1, Dooley down in round 2. Round 3, Dooley took his turn at leading, but was smartly met by Goddard with a left under ribs, which brought him down for another 10 seconds. On resuming, Dooley planted 2 splendid lefts on Goddard's ear, and the latter responded resolutely following up, but Dooley was weary and quickly stepped on to one side. Dooley seemed to be gaining more confidence now and got in his left again, this time on Goddard's eye, supplementing it with a right on the ear and another on the jaw, which lifted Goddard off his feet and sent him fairly to the ground. Goddard took 10 seconds and came up looking rather dazed. Dooley, who was at this time showing splendid science, went at Goddard immediately. Time was called and got home both hands smartly on the side of the head and body. Dooley, after being forced to the corner, banged his left on Goddard's nose, drying the crimson. First blood appeared, and it was for Dooley, which did not appear to affect Goddard. Goddard kept rushing Dooley over the stage. Just before corners were called, Dooley caught Goddard's damaged eye with his left, and the latter hitting about in a rather wild manner, in showing the effects of Dooley's frequent visitations. The excitement was now intense, and Dooley supporters were congratulating themselves on the turn of affairs that had taken place. So that looks like 2 knockdowns by Dooley on Joe Goddard there in round 3. Now we have round 4. At the call of time, Goddard came up as though he had just stepped into the ring, as fresh as could be desired, and making straight at Dooley, sent home his right and left smartly on the head and body. Dooley, not being slow to reply similarly, Dooley tried a left on the ear but missed, and Goddard complimented with a right and left on both sides of Dooley's head. A clinch followed, in which, before they had broken away, Goddard uppercut Dooley. In return, chopped Goddard on the jaw and sent him down again. But Goddard refused to take advantage of the 10 seconds. Jumping up, he rushed at Dooley and forced him against the ropes. But nothing resulted. Another clinch, and again Goddard uppercut Dooley before being free. This time, Dooley's seconds claimed a foul, but the referee disallowed it. So once again, they're trying to get Goddard fouled out, as he is just a roughhouse manner. Dooley again chipped Goddard and sent him to the floor. But as before, Goddard lost no time in getting on his feet, and time was just afterwards called. So that's the end of round 4. There must be at least 5 or 6 knockdowns happening so far. So Dooley definitely swung the fight in his favor. Round 5. Goddard rushed up to Dooley to force affairs, but only a clinch ensued. Dooley sent along a nice left on Goddard's ear, and the response being a swinging right on the ribs, and rushing on to Dooley, Goddard shoved him with considerable force to the boards. That's again Goddard doing the London prize ring rules. And it seemed at first as though Dooley could not respond to the call of time. He, however, was up again and tried to get in both hands, but was short. Goddard kept on working vigorously, and a rally followed. Dooley missed a heavy right on the ear, but in trying to reply with his left, received a heavy blow from Goddard's right on the ear. His ribs also receiving the latter's left repeatedly. Dooley seemed to be weakening at this point, while Goddard seemed as strong as ever. A quick exchange and a left on the face from Goddard closed the round. Round 6. Goddard sailed in at the call of time and tried both hands, but Dooley was quickly away and returning Grove's left smartly on Goddard's damaged eye. Dooley tried a right-hand swinger, but Goddard escaped it and planted his left twice in succession on Dooley's jaw. A clinch and another fall was claimed by Dooley's second for uppercut delivered by Goddard before breaking away. This, like the previous claim, was not allowed. So the referee here is William Miller, the boxer, trainer, wrestler. And many were of the expression of discontent by the referee. Goddard got in a left on the ear and a right on the ribs, and after some smart countering, Dooley sent across his left on Goddard's jaw, the latter trying for the body when corners were called. So round 7, and the last. Goddard led off with his left and his right just missing Dooley's ribs. He, however, got in his left immediately afterwards on the body, which sent Dooley to the floor. On getting up, Goddard tried again for the body with his right, but failed, a left being more successful on the ear. A clinch followed and some careful sparring, after which Goddard rushed in and got home his right and left with effects on both the body and the head. Dooley, receiving a tremendous right uppercut, was forced to claim the 10 seconds allowed, and upon rising seemed distressed. Goddard still kept on forcing and used his left effectively on Dooley's jaw. Time was being called when matters were looking very sultry for Dooley. So Dooley went to his corner. At this stage, the seconds threw in the sponge amid great excitement and cheering, Goddard being therefore announced the victor. So if you're having trouble following that, Goddard was announced the victor after the round ended. So Dooley's seconds threw in the sponge between the 7th and the 8th round. Now, I suppose you're probably wondering where exactly Dooley could have the claim to have won this fight. So we are going to go back to the first paragraph here, which I omitted on purpose here. I'm just going to take you through what it says here. Goddard left himself open for a foul to be claimed against him twice for hitting Dooley while clinched, and the referee declining to entertain them raised a storm of disapproval. That is one William Miller. exception was also taken to the time in two instances. Once, when Goddard was taking time, private watches making it a total of 16 seconds, upon which Goddard was down. Now that right there is a loss. At this point in the boxing, you cannot go down for more than 10 seconds, just as the Queensberry rules stated throughout history here. So in this newspaper reading, it's stating right there, Goddard was taking time, private watches making it at 16 seconds, upon which Goddard was down. While when Dooley was down, once the time was started to be 6 seconds, and the backers and supporters of Dooley were very sore on this point, as the referee gave an immediate count and gave expression to their opinion in the most unmistakable manner. So, not only does this Sun newspaper article state that he was down 16 times, Dooley, in his own words, stated he was down for 20 seconds, and I have another newspaper report that states he was down for 17 seconds. So we have 3 different accounts stating that Goddard had lost the match there by going down at over 10 seconds. Let's see here. So it looks to be round 3 when Goddard was down, because it states here in round 4, when Goddard was down, he refused to take advantage of the 10-second. Jumping up, he rushed at Dooley. So it certainly wasn't his going down in round 4 that was the problem. I think it was going down in round 3. I think this is it, probably right here. Let me read this sentence here. Dooley seemed to be gaining confidence now, and got in his left again, and this time on Goddard's eye, supplementing it with a right on the ear and another on the jaw, which lifted Goddard off his feet and sent him fairly to the ground. Goddard took his 10 seconds, which may have been 17 or 20 seconds, and came up looking rather dazed. So I think that is the knockdown right there that Dooley is pointing out, that Goddard was over the 10 seconds, because it says right here, Goddard took his 10 seconds, but the arguments were that the referee allowed a longer time frame than 10 seconds, as he was very liberal with the timing. So I will put up the different reports of Dooley here having stated that Goddard was down for 20 full seconds, I think it was. And there's another newspaper report that I will tack on here at the end stating that Goddard again was down more than 10 seconds. And this newspaper is stating that he was down for more than 10 seconds. So use your own judgment. Was Mick Dooley the actual first person to beat Joe Goddard? Because it appears as if he won the match. It's one thing to say, this person should have been disqualified, but he was not. But it's a whole nother thing to be down for more than 10 seconds and having the referee omit that bit of information, because that's really crooked. I'm sure they wanted a good fight, but it appears as though Goddard was knocked out. It says right there, Goddard was lifted off his feet and sent him fairly to the ground. So if he's down for 20 seconds, that's a knockout, man. So take it for what it's worth, but Mick Dooley may have been the first person to actually beat Joe Goddard. And not only that, but it states right there in round 5 that they wanted a disqualification again because Goddard was throwing him to the ground. No, sorry, round 4. This time the seconds claimed a foul, but the referee disallowed it. So basically, this is a little bit similar to the Goddard Dooley number 1, where Goddard is using these London prize ring rules and hip checking and throwing Dooley to the ground. It's exactly what he does here. He sends him to the ground with grappling techniques. So, take it for what it's worth. Mick Dooley may have won this match. So, thanks for listening. This is the Historical Boxing Society podcast, and this was the second Mick Dooley versus Joe Goddard match. Thanks for listening.